Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we have come up with a new video which would basically focus on understanding the stock market in detail. So in this video, we would be introducing you to what are stocks, what is an IPO, that is initial public offering, the various types of stocks, and we would see what causes stock prices to change and how we can see stocks trading in a live stock market, and the final thing, that is financial intermediaries. You may have come across these symbols in some or the other way. You may have seen NSE, S&P, BSE, Sensex, and you may have also come across various symbols like MCX, American Securities, etc. So, as you can see, these are the important fundamentals of stock market. So, we would dive deep into the stock market fundamentals and would try to understand how stock market actually works, what are the essential things you have to know before investing your money into stock market, the various fundamental institutions that are involved in regulating the stock markets, and also we would study the various factors that contribute to the overall stock market. So firstly, let's start with the introduction. So as we can see, stocks are an integral part. It is an important part of your investment portfolio. So whenever you start to become financially free, you have to have a solid understanding of how actually a stock market works. In the last few decades, we have seen an exponential rise in the interest of people in stock market. And also, we can see that as the technology is increasing and day by day we are generating various new algorithms and trading technologies which are helping people to trade very frequently and efficiently in the stock market. So nowadays we can see that nearly anyone can open a trading account and start trading in the stock market. Stocks have a high potential to create massive wealth, and thus we can see that there are a lot of people which are involved in the process. But with high reward there comes a high risk. So as we say that we have to invest with very caution in stock market. But what is the solution to all these problems that may arise in the stock market due to its volatility? And we can say that the only solution that we have is we have to understand the stock market in depth and understand how it actually works. Thus, by gaining the insights and the deep knowledge of the stock markets, we can be able to successfully place our trade and earn profits in a short span of time. So, let's get started with what stock exactly mean. A stock is simply a share in the ownership of a company. A stock represents a claim on the company's assets and earning. You can acquire more stock and your ownership stake in the company becomes greater. You can say that being a owner of a company, you may have many shareholders of the company and you have a claim to everything the company owns. Yes, this means technically you own a tiny piece of furniture, every trademark, every contract of the company. And as a owner, you are entitled to a share of the company's earnings as well as any voting rights attached to the stock. A stock is represented by a certificate, and this is a proof of your holding a company's stock means that you are one of the major owners of the company and thus you are liable to every profit and every loss that company is making. So, you might be asking an important question, that is, if I have a company and if I am the founder, why would I distribute the shares among thousands of people when they could keep the profits to themselves? The reason is, at every point, a company needs to raise money. So maybe a company wants to expand its business or a company needs to pay a debt. So to do this, the companies often either borrow it from someone or raise it by selling part of the company, which is known as issuing stock. A company can borrow by taking a loan from a bank or by issuing bonds. So these methods would fit under debt financing. Debt financing basically means that in order to expand or in order to provide the required necessities of the company might take some loan from a bank or they might issue a contract between the people that they are taking a loan from them and they would return back with some interest. So that is nothing but debt financing. Now we will see that what is equity financing. Issuing a stock is called equity financing. So all the stock markets, that is equity market, is of issuing of stock and entering the public space. So from this we can say that equity financing is the process of raising capital through the sale of shares. So by selling shares, they sell ownership in their company in return for cash, like stock financing. So equity financings come from many sources like an IPO. So an IPO is the first sale of stock which is issued by a private company itself. So it is the process of offering shares of a private corporation to public in a new stock issuance. So when a company reaches a particular stage where it is mature enough for the rigors of SEC regulations along with the benefits and responsibilities to public shareholders, it will begin to advertise its intent in going public. Before an IPO, a company is privately owned, usually by its founders and maybe the family members. In some cases, a few long-time employees might have equity in the company. The founders give the lenders and employees a piece of action because the founders know that if company flatters, giving away part of company won't cost them anything. If the company succeeds and eventually goes public, theoretically everyone should win. So, a stock that was worth nothing the day before the IPO will now be worth some positive numbers of dollars. However, because the shares don't trade on an open market, those private owners' stakes in the company are hard to value. So, let's take an example like IBM. Anyone who owns a share knows exactly what it's worth with a quick look at the financial page. So, a privately held company's value is largely a guess, dependent on its income, assets, revenue, growth, etc. While those are certainly much of the same criteria that go into valuing a public company. A soon to be IPO'd company doesn't have any feedback in the form of a buyer willing to immediately purchase its share at a particular price. So, a private valuation of approximately $1 billion, also known as a unicorn status, is used so that a company can be listed in the share market. However, there are many private companies at various valuations with strong fundamentals and proven profitability potential can also qualify for an IPO. So, IPO shares of a company are priced through underwriting due diligence. Next, we would see how can stocks be classified on majorly 7 types. The first is based on stock classes. So, in this one, the primary factors used to classify stocks is based on the voting rights of the shareholders. There are some stocks that do not give the shareholders the power to vote at all, and some stocks give the power to vote at the annual meetings where the decisions regarding the management of the company and such issues takes place. Unlike these stocks, there are some other stocks that allow shareholders to participate in decision making in the company matters by casting their votes. Another kind of stock offers shareholders the opportunity to cast multiple votes in matters pertaining to different aspects of the company. Next is classification based on market capitalization. Stocks can be classified on the basis of market capitalization of the company, which is the total shareholding of a company. This is calculated by multiplying current price of the company stock with the total number of shares that are outstanding in the market. Based on that, they are classified into large cap stocks, mid cap stocks, and small cap stocks. Large cap are often the stocks of blue chip companies which are established enterprises with a large reserves of cash at their disposal. It is interesting to note that the larger size of the large capital companies does not mean that they grow more rapidly. In fact, it is the small stock companies that tend to outperform them. Mid caps are the stocks of medium sized companies that have market capitalization of INR 250 crore to about 4000 crore. These companies have a well recognized name in the market. Small cap stocks have the potential to grow at a good pace in the future. Investors who are willing to commit a long term and are not very particular about the current dividends and are willing to stand their ground during price volatility gain significantly in the future. As an investor, you can buy these stocks when they are available at a very cheap price during the initial stage. However, there is no surety about how the company will perform in the market. Next is based on ownership, preferred and common stocks, and hybrid stocks. And stocks with embedded derivative options are the 3 types. Preferred stocks offer investors a fixed amount of dividend every year, unlike common stocks. The price of preferred stocks is not as volatile. At the time of company liquidation, its company's creditors, bondholders, get priority over the preferred shareholders. The hybrid stocks are the companies that offer preferred shares with the option of converting them to common shares. Embedded derivative options means they can be callable or puttable and are not as commonly available. Next is based on dividend payment, that is growth stocks and income stocks. Growth stocks do not pay high dividends as the company prefers to reinvest the earnings to enable it to grow faster. In income stocks, a higher dividend in relation to the price of the share is given. Higher dividend translates to higher income, hence the name income stocks. They are indicative of a stable company that can afford consistent dividends, but these are also companies that do not promise very high growth. Based on fundamentals, investors who believe that a share price must equal the intrinsic value of the company's share, the value investing investors compare the share price with components like per share earnings, profits, etc. So they are divided into overvalued shares and undervalued shares. Overvalued are the shares with prices that exceed the intrinsic value. Undervalued shares are popular amongst the value investors as they believe that the price of the share would rise in the future. Based on risk, the stocks are classified into beta and blue chip. Beta is derived by calculating the price volatility of the stock. Beta can be positive or negative, so it denotes whether it moves in sync with the market or against it. The higher the beta, higher is the risk quotient of the stock. If the beta value is more than 1, it means that the stock is more volatile. Blue chip stocks are those that have lower liabilities and stable earnings and which will pay regular dividends. These are very well recognized companies. Based on price stance, they are divided into defensive and cyclical. The defensive stocks are unfazed by economic conditions and are preferred. Food and beverage companies are common examples. Cyclic stocks are the companies that are greatly affected by economic conditions and see high price fluctuation with market changes. These type of stocks grow rapidly during boom cycle, but the growth is slowed down during slow economy. Automobile sector falls in this category. Stock prices change every day due to market forces. Share prices change because of the principle of supply and demand. So we can say simply that if more people want to buy a stock, then there is a more demand for that stock than to sell that stock. So the stock increases its value to provide the people with their increasing demand. It is important to understand that what makes people like a particular stock and dislike another stock. The principal theory is that the price movement of a stock will indicate what investors feel a company is worth. So, the most important factor that affects the value of a company is its earning. So, for trading of stocks, there should be a medium. So, most stocks are traded on exchanges, which are a place where buyers and sellers meet and decide on a price. They can be either physical or virtual. The purpose of stock market is to facilitate the exchange of securities between the buyers and sellers and reduce the risk of investing. Basically, there are two types of markets. The primary market is where securities are created by a means of IPO, while in the secondary market, investors trade previously issued securities without the involvement of the issuing companies. So in India, National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange are the two major exchanges which provide securities. So these are the platforms which provide the trading tools to and the trading platforms to the people where they can buy and sell stocks, and thus they can perform exchanges of security, and evaluation of stock prices takes place on these exchanges. The regulation of stock market in India is performed by Securities and Exchange Board of India, that is SEBI. The main objective of SEBI is to promote the development of stock exchanges, protect interest of retail investors, and regulate activities of market participants and financial intermediaries. So the main task of SEBI is to see that there are no malpractices in the stock market and to set up rules which have to be followed and has to be abided by the companies, the institutions, and the retail stock market players. SEBI ensures that BSE and NSE exchanges conducts its business fairly. The stockbrokers and sub-brokers conduct their business fairly. There are no unfair practices. The corporates don't use the market to take undue benefit. Small retail investors' interests are protected, and the large investors should not manipulate markets. So, an overall growth and development of markets is taken into consideration by SEBI. The next is financial intermediaries. There are four financial intermediaries that perform various operations at the back-end process. So, the first is the stockbroker. A stockbroker is a corporate entity registered as a trading member with a stock exchange. If I have to perform a particular action on a particular share which is listed, I have to first of all set up a trading account which is provided by the broker, which lets us, the investor, to buy and sell securities. So, the stockbroker acts as an intermediate between the share and the investor, where investor has to pay some amount of brokerage to the broker. Next is depository and depository participants. So when you buy a share, your ownership is claimed by a certificate. So it is a share certificate, which is a piece of document entitling you as the owner of the share. So this process of converting a paper-based certificate into a digital form share certificate is dematerialization, and which is often abbreviated as demat account. A depository is a financial intermediary which offers the service of a demat account. So if I am an investor, first of all I need is a demat account to be set up. And to set up a particular demat account, there are various financial intermediary called as depositories. Based on the current market scenario, there are two depositories offering you a demat account service. They are National Securities Depository Limited, NSDL, and Central Depository Services India Limited. So the NSDL works with NSE and the CDSL works with the BSE Stock Exchange. So virtually they are no different, but they operate under the same strict regulations of SEBI. So to open a demat account, you need to cooperate and communicate with a DP, that is a depository participant. So as we can see, these two depositories play a crucial role in providing a demat account, and they are also a major part of the financial intermediaries. Next intermediary is banks. The role of a bank is pretty straightforward. They facilitate the fund transfer from your bank account to your trading account. So whenever an investor has to trade in stock market, he has to link his account to a trading account which is offered by a broker. So he can withdraw or invest his funds into the account, and this is provided by a bank. Next is NSCCL and ICCL. These are the security clearing corporations which perform the job of clearing corporation and ensure guaranteed settlement of your trades. NSCCL is owned by a subsidiary of NSE and ICCL by BSE. So they perform the task of identifying the buyer and seller and match the debit and credit process and ensure there are no defaults. So in this video we learned about the fundamentals and the basics of share market. These basics are often the base to enter and start to invest in trade market. In the upcoming videos, we would learn more about various indices that market consists of. Thank you.